Hello and welcome to Connect and Collaborate. I'm Alex Hopkins, your on-air producer, and I'm very excited because this week we are talking apprenticeships. But before I get into our guest today, I'd like to ask our audience out there to visit cobrt.com. Check out our events page. We have lots of events coming up, including our cybersecurity event taking place October 30th, so be sure to sign up for that. And I have in studio with me Joyce Saffel.
Saffel.
Yeah,
that's fine.
Thank you. I tried. I did.
Okay, you're good.
And she is the Human Resources Director for Columbine Health. How are you doing today?
We're good. Yeah, it's nice and sunny in Colorado.
Yes, so. Wonderful.
Yeah.
So exciting stuff, apprenticeships, right? And we know that the healthcare sector really is having a hard time hiring at the moment. It's one of the harder industries to keep and retain employees, right?
Yes. Across the state, I would say Northern Colorado is no exception to the need for healthcare workers, whether or not it's at entry level or even at higher level experienced licensed nursing staff member.
Yes. Before we get into what you guys offer as far as apprenticeships are concerned, let's talk about you and your background and why healthcare and why Columbine.
Okay. I've been in Colorado for a number of years and was working in the high-tech market as an HR director and had the opportunity to come to work for a healthcare company, and it's locally owned and operated by one gentleman, Bob Wilson. So it was a very unique company. It's not a huge corporation that's owned and operated through board of directors. So it was a very unique setup from a business perspective. And we've been in business for over 49 years. So the presence in Northern Colorado is huge. We offer a continuum of care from patio homes to independent living, assisted living, and then skilled and nursing rehab. So I knew as an HR director, I would have my hands full of hiring and executing on that huge platform.
Yes. Well, and I guess I didn't realize that it was locally owned. There's no board of directors. That must make it a little bit nicer, right? A little more friendly.
Yeah, I get to talk to my boss every day, and when he's in the office, it's great. We can make decisions quickly, efficiently. Our CFO is right there along with him. They've worked together for years. And then Yvonne Myers is our public affairs and director of operations. And so really it's an easy way of tackling challenges on a day-to-day basis from an operations standpoint.
Wonderful. Yeah. Well, do you mind talking a little bit about those challenges? What are you finding is your biggest challenge right now?
Well, from an HR perspective, it's definitely manpower. It is that employee base that we're looking for, that as everybody ages, there's lots of different services throughout our communities that we need to assist with, and that takes employees, from a wide range, not just on the clinical side, but social services, admissions, activities, how we actually run and keep our buildings unbelievably beautiful. It takes a talented staff with our dietary, housekeeping and maintenance, construction. We have our own horticulturist, and we have our own graphics webmaster. So we kind of do it all, and that's how we keep our buildings in great shape, giving great customer service to the residents that are being served by us.
Wonderful. I love that. So you mentioned that you do have some troubles with the manpower, right?
Right.
And so you offer some apprenticeship programs. Yes.
Yes.
Let's get into who qualifies for these programs first.
Sure. Yeah, and apprenticeships are a new concept to not only the state of Colorado, but the whole United States. I think that we're looking at perceptions that not all students from high school are going to go on to a post-secondary education level. In fact, that's quite a huge number of kids that are not going to go on. Of course, there's lots of opportunities for first generation, and financially it's a challenge to go into college. So kids need opportunities to look for employment that is long-term, sustainable wage, and apprenticeships were a model that Columbine thought would work very uniquely with us, and so we decided to try that out, amongst all the other things that we do to educate people about healthcare careers.
Awesome. So let me ask you this. We talked a little bit off air and about the fact that you guys have your own system that you created, right? There's several places that are working together with other businesses and other organizations. Careerwise is one of those that works throughout the state with different industries to get some apprenticeships apprenticeship programs going, but you have your own model.
We actually are fortunate. We have a geriatric education center, so we actually train certified nurse aides from the general public coming in, paying a fee for a private 2.5-week orientation and training and clinical experience, and then we have the luxury of hiring people out of those classes. So we're a direct educator. There's other opportunities to become certified nurse aide through the community college sector, which they provide the same program. They're all certified through the Board of Nursing, but we actually have our own center on site, and so to be able to do this program with our own system, it's just ideal. We also partner with the school systems. We've partnered with Poudre School District as well as Thompson Valley, Thompson School District in the Loveland area for the opportunity to bring junior and senior level students into an apprenticeship model.
That's wonderful. What kind of results are you seeing? What kind of feedback are you getting from the students?
Well, we're really excited because we are with our first internship group, and it's taken us a year to evolve and have this program established. And most of the time, it's just putting all the pieces together. We actually partnered with the school system and their career counseling, work-based learning teachers and administration staff to actually execute and communicate out to the students about this potential opportunity. I had the fortunate time to be able to go to each high school and speak about our program and how you could incorporate that into your high school schedule and get high school credits so people would graduate on time. These students would go to school in the morning and then come to our campus and go through the education process, the clinical process, and then become workers in those roles as they move through the apprenticeship time frame. And so we had we had over 15 applications, and we put into place 9 of those apprentices, and they're at various locations within our campus environment, so they're not all just in one setting. And we've had the first 2 weeks of work, so we're fresh out of the gate with this program, and the students are thrilled to be able to work with an older generation and be able to provide that direct care to them. It's a real rewarding experience for the students.
Oh, I would imagine. I didn't realize it was such in its infancy here.
Yes,
yeah, so
definitely.
we're talking a baby program, but you guys got it up and running. Talk me through the process of everything that you had to go through to get it up and running.
Sure. It sounds more complicated than it is. We worked with the Department of Labor and their top administration staff really did a great job of introducing the concept of what a registered apprenticeship is versus non-registered. And with a federal registered program, these apprentices will graduate after the 2,000-hour apprenticeship model is completed, and they will have a registered certificate that they can take anywhere in the United States to state that they've been trained consistently with the standards and practice from the federal government under the DOL department requirements. And so we had a baseline of how our certified nurse aides are trained through the State Board of Nursing, and so we just matched those up with what the Department of Labor was asking, and they fit, and we just had to tweak a little bit in regard to the curriculum. And then we worked with the school system to get the students, and then we also worked with our workforce, economic and development workforce board staff to help build some skills for the students before they started work inside a workplace environment. And so we did a 2-day boot camp for these students to be able to experience some soft skills training on how they integrate into the work world. What's that different than just working maybe babysitting or lifeguarding for a summer job? How are you going to work in a real work setting?
Yeah, which is something that's hard to teach, right? Yeah. You can teach anybody skills on the job.
Correct.
It's those soft skills that take some prep work, for sure.
Right.
So it's nice to know that you offer that 2-day boot camp. Now, will that take place every time you get a new shipment of apprentice students? Right.
With this apprenticeship program, the 2,000 hours will consist over a junior and senior level school time frame. So we go with the school system's school schedule, and the kids are off during the holidays, but we'll offer them the opportunity to work in the capacities that we've trained them in. And then if they want to work in the summertime, they also will do that as well. So the first role that they've taken on inside the program is experiencing what we call a personal care provider that's working in an assisted living setting with residents that potentially may have dementia. And so it's a soft step into critical care caring. And so they'll work as personal care providers for the first semester, and then they'll go into the certified nurse aid training, and that'll be over a course of a couple months, and then they'll get their clinical experience, and then they'll become certified at the end of May of this next year. Then the whole next 1,000 hours is when they get to work as certified nurse aides. What's exciting to the students also is pay. They come in with minimum wage education and clinical experiences, and then once they get out and start working, they'll start getting that paycheck, which they love, and then as they progress to a CNA, they're going to be moving up from a pay rate standpoint. And so there's different levels of wages that they can move towards throughout the apprenticeship model, and then obviously from a performance standpoint, we're going to actually give them an opportunity for pay increases as well. So an average student can be making at the end of the certification process of $12.50 to $12.75 an hour for work. So as a high school student, that's a lot of money.
That is a lot of money, yeah.
With great skills, and they have a job, and it's, you know, whether or not they continue on to a higher ed program, but their resume looks good for their next opportunity. But we're real excited to capture them and have them stay within our system too. If they're not ready to go on to college, we want them to work as CNAs, and maybe we'll scholarship them to a licensed practical nurse. If they move on to an LPN or an RN program, we have scholarship programs within our company to do that as well.
Which is amazing. I love that. You're setting up not only for success anywhere, because you did work with the Department of Labor to make sure that it's a national qualification.
Correct.
But you also are honing those skills so hopefully they do stay, right?
Right.
In a field that's really tough to hire for this day and age.
Yeah.
So that's great. And are there any personal stories of someone that maybe touched your heart a little bit that you've seen go through the program?
Yeah, I think all the students that we got to interview very intently about what their life's dreams are, or where they want to be from a career standpoint. We've had quite a few of the students say, this is my first dip into healthcare and I'm not too sure what direction I want to go into. And others are very adamant about becoming that neonatal nurse or a nurse practitioner or even a physician. And so their dreams are big, but we get to share with them the first experience of how direct care is, and it's all about the resident and taking care of them and giving them what they need in a clinical setting and non-clinical, and just that relationship build, because we're all about people at Columbine. It's all about taking care of them at whatever level of service they need. And so I get excited when the kids really have a fun time of having an activity with the older adults. We got to let them sit in at an independent living, and they got to do activities programs with these seniors, and some of the activities were just hilarious. They did truth, lie, and you tell two truths and a lie, and all of the residents got to know the students, and the students got to know the residents. And so as they progress and learn how to speak and understand the older adult market, they all have potential grandparents or family members that are older, and they're just acquiring better skills to actually work with residents or patients along the way with their careers.
That's wonderful. I like that, and that is a really fun game, a great way to get to know your staff and your residents.
Right, together.
Yeah, absolutely. Right. I got to ask you, what has been the most surprising thing that you have found, you as in Columbine Health, your staff? What has been most surprising for you guys implementing this program?
For the first couple weeks of work that we've had, I've asked the students to give me feedback, and the students have really enjoyed learning from the other employees that they're working with, because they are employees now. They're a part of our system. They went through orientation. They get their paychecks like everybody else. And so they're unique, but they're not. And so that's a nice thing to feel like you're a part of the group as an individual employee. And I think that they do appreciate the mentorship that they receive from the staff along the way. And learning how to communicate with different age groups of employees, different backgrounds, and the diversity that we have at Columbine with our employee base is really huge. I think it's a nice way for young adults learning how to work with others, and our mentorship program, I think, is just really solid with the people that they get to work with.
Well, mentorship programs are, I think, just delightful, right? Because apprenticeship is one thing, but mentoring, having a mentor is as invaluable in my opinion.
Right.
Yeah, it's a wonderful tool that you guys offer. So you're in your infancy, so you've got 1 year to get it up and running. Have you had certificates given out yet?
No, with the 2,000 hours, it will take us the junior level high school year, and then the senior level high school. So it takes 2 years to make it through the program, but these kids are going to school in the morning and then coming in the afternoon. So we only have about 3 hours in the afternoon. So they have to acquire that 2,000 hours to finish out the apprenticeship. It will go fast, and some of these students will be working, or apprentice will be working in the summertime, so their hour accumulation will be there a little bit quicker. But there will be that certificate ceremony along with they'll all be graduating from high school, so they'll have like a dual success with that program. And so we're looking to, our next cohort will be identified in another year. So we're looking that this will be successful, and we'll replace it with another cohort. We may expand the number of students that we have that want to apply and how many apprentices that our model within our campus environment can handle.
Wonderful. Yeah, you said you had 15 apply and you accepted 9
right,
of those 15.
Right.
What kind of qualifications are you looking for to be able to be eligible for this program?
They do just have to apply through the school system application process, so that they are identified that they're on track with their credits within their high school to be graduating as a senior. And all of the apprentices are in their junior year or senior year. So depending on that, we'll figure out how to accomplish that 2,000 hours. But the students have to fill out an application. They have to show interest in healthcare, and really it's the interview process that we have with a variation of staff, not only myself, but Yvonne Myers, our Director of Health Systems. And then we ask our staffing people and our Director of Nursing for input on these candidates. And we find the match very easy to identify. The students really sell themselves on why they would want to try this model out. It's new to them too, so I think they're all a little nervous about being away from high school. We don't want to shut down what that high school experience is. We want them to continue to be able to participate in sports and music and any after-school activities. So we're really flexible with the students, that they get to come to our campus, work for 3 hours, and then leave. Sometimes we have to get them, to the band practice or to a softball, tournament. And so companies have to realize that you have to be flexible, but to make the student feel like you're going to be able to work with them and they'll be able to work with you and then accomplish their goals from a healthcare standpoint. It's really the mission. So.
Absolutely. Well, and I think we're seeing an uptrend these days in allowing our workers to have flexibility, right?
Right.
Whether you're in your 30s, 40s, 50s, or you're in high school, right. It's nice to have that flexibility.
Exactly.
So, yeah, I think that's great that you're making sure that you have that. Because one of the things that I personally worry about hearing about these apprenticeships, as wonderful as they are, you worry sometimes that maybe we aren't letting them have a childhood.
Right,
yeah.
right. Yes.
And so this is great news.
Yeah, we definitely have a wide range of students in regard to their academic interests and what they want to do. So I do think that going slow and having them learn the skills really well and be able to practice those skills, it's all about work-based learning in the environment that they're going to be employed in. And to give them experience in a lab setting is fine, but to do it with real residents, real patients, and have that communication going on, I think the students really like that slower pace, and I think they get to know the residents a lot better. So it's just not a quick education and out, and then I'm going to go work somewhere else. All the environment that they are learning in, they're working in too. So they really get comfortable in their work environment, and that means that they're going to be more successful in the job role.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
I completely agree with that. Is there any advice that you'd like to offer businesses that are looking into foraying into the world of apprenticeships?
Right. I think there's a wide range of opportunity for businesses, and literally it doesn't take a lot of time or money. We do not have a designated staff member for this program. As an HR director, I'm spearheading a lot of the facilitation, but after we get those employees into that program, it's executed very easily. I think that businesses need to know that this is a resource of employment that you can have have people come in, train, and have the opportunity to keep them as employees. I mean, with the low unemployment rates that we have to look at every area that's a possibility of increasing our workforce. And youth is where it's at. And I think that the youth are biting at employees or employers to invite them to come into their companies, learn about their businesses, and be able to experience work doing the work. They're ready to have jobs at that age. I think people are a little nervous about having young people in their work environment from a safety standpoint as well as maturity standpoint. And I think that if you present the program well, whether or not you do it through the Department of Labor apprenticeship program or if you do it with another individual company such as Careerwise, we're very much on track to keep those employees safe, making sure they're learning appropriately and that they're successful in their job roles.
Nice. Well, and I'm going to ask a little bit about money here, if you are willing to answer some of those questions for me. We know that up front there's a little bit of cost, right? You're investing in these students essentially. And so there's a little bit of cost per each student, I would imagine, to go through these programs. But in the long term, you're really going to see that rate of return, right? Very quickly,
right, right. And the dollar amount that we've had to put forth is obviously we have our own education center, so that was our overhead costs that we had put aside, but also with the Larimer County Economic and Development Workforce Center, they also have grants and support for anything that could support the program as well. So they've had different grants that we've had the students apply for, and if there was a need for the students to get gas money or meal dollars to support lunches or anything like that, as well as any type of equipment, we can look at the grants through the Workforce Center, the Economic and Development Workforce Center at Larimer County, and they've been able to help facilitate some of that. So I think that's another avenue that employers need to utilize those workforce centers in their communities to help support potential financial, as well as just the actual cost of the apprenticeship itself. So,
wow. That's so fun. This is so exciting to be able to get firsthand experience from you. What are your goals? Obviously, we have this first class going through, getting their 2,000 hours. What do you see long term for this?
I see apprenticeship being a part of our avenue for hiring. I mean, this is a great exposure for anybody that wants to have interest in healthcare. They're not too sure where they want to go with their healthcare career goals, but direct healthcare, you really do relate and know how to take care of a patient. It's that one-on-one service, and a certified nurse aide has a lot of clinical capabilities. They have a lot of responsibility each day to take care of the residents as best as they can, and I think that we'll continue to have those apprenticeship models in place at Columbine. There's other opportunities for employers to take on tours and shadowing experiences, but the apprenticeship model really does work because it is work-based skilled learning, and they're working and getting paid, and instead of an internship that may not be paid, the students have much more vested interest in making it happen for them as well as the employer.
Wonderful. Is there any avenue for having an apprenticeship on the administration side of healthcare?
Well, I'm really excited because there's so many facets of healthcare that our dietary environment, the amount of restaurants that we have in the state of Colorado, especially in the metro and the northern Colorado area, we are in need of housekeeping and dietary. So I'm excited to potentially form a dietary apprenticeship program with the culinary schools that we have. Front Range Community College has a culinary program. There's other secondary services that we can have a potential other apprenticeships. So we have a huge diverse possibility of having other apprenticeship models that are supporting all of our functions within Columbine.
I love that. Well, hopefully we get some of those implemented soon for you as this apprenticeship program goes. Where can I find more information if I'm a student, or if I am a parent of a student who I know is interested in healthcare? Where can I go?
Sure. I think, well, with our program, it would be with the Poudre School District, the Thompson School District, our Larimer County Workforce and Economic Board, as well as Columbine Health Systems. You can go to www.columbinehealth.com and find us there as well. So a lot of the information is with lots of different partners, and so our partners are very important to us, the school system as well as the Economic and Workforce Development Board.
Yes. Thank you so much. It's been a pleasure having you on, Joyce. And be sure to check out that apprenticeship program. Like and subscribe our YouTube page while you're here. Check out this podcast and more at cobrt.com/radio-podcast. Thank you so much.
Thank you for asking me.
Yes.